Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial we are going to be creating this design combining spider nail gel, rub-on transfers from Southern Belle, as well as some PDB mica powder. We are not using glitter. I grabbed this Princess Cut color shot paint. This has very quickly become my favorite spray paint to use. Coverage is incredible. All of the paints come out really nice and smooth. So if your local Walmart or craft store carries the new color shot paints, definitely grab some to give it a try. I only put one coat of spray paint on this tumbler, and then I took my little sewing measuring tape, measured the length of this tumbler, which is a 24 plump from the Steel Magnolia. It is exactly 8 inches, and I folded this measuring tape into 6 sections and then went down through the creases and just marked it off. I grabbed this UV spider nail gel from Amazon. This is not the one I will have linked down below. The consistency wasn't all that great. It was a little bit too thick and stringy for me and a little difficult to work with. However, I have seen Kelly Norris over at Dixie Darlings use spider nail gel a lot. She is like the pro master at it. And I checked out the brand that she uses, and I will have that link down below for y'all, as well as the link to her channel so you can check out her designs as well. So this kit comes with this little pen. It has a tiny little paintbrush on one side and a little tiny dot on the other side, and that dot is what you kind of dip down into the gel and then lift it up. Once it gets to a very thin string, then you start draping it over the tumbler. You do not want these to be thick. If they are thick, then this is not going to cure properly, either outside in the sunlight or under a UV lamp. This was actually my second attempt at putting this on. The first time I put it on way too thick, had too many overlapping in one spot. So whenever I did try to cure, it not only took forever, but once I allowed it to sit outside in the sunlight for hours, it dried the top. However, it did not dry underneath those really thick areas. Once I had all of my stripes complete, I sat it underneath my UV light on my turner. I did this for about 3 rounds and it still wasn't dry, so I took it off of my turner. Instead of having to babysit that light and constantly turn it on, I just sat the tumbler outside for 2 hours to let the sunlight cure that UV gel. and then put one coat of DIY's Fast Set epoxy, and we were ready for our decals. So I created this Be Real Not Perfect decal, and this will be available in the Brittany Barnes Boutique Tumbler art group. You can check below in the description for a link to our Facebook group. I created a 0.035 offset of this really pretty like pink mauve color. I layered those two together, and I did not weed out some of those letters. I waited until after I had it on my tumbler to weed those so it would be a lot easier and not pull up my letters. After I had my decal positioned, it was time to add on our decals. These are the florals that I have with Southern Belle glitter. I have two different colors. It just showed you that peachy color. It looks so pretty on so many different bases, and you can use them in a lot of different ways. As you can see, we have a lot crammed on this tiny little sheet, and that is simply for the purpose that you can get multiple tumblers out of one sheet. You can use the additional flowers as fillers if you make a very large tumbler and need to add on a couple extra flowers in places. Or if you are making one of the floral peekaboo tumbler designs, these are actually sized perfectly for that tumbler. We are actually putting these in the same pattern as we would on the floral peekaboo. So I'm putting the largest one on the back, and then I will put 4 alternating on the front and then 2 over the edges of the decal. All you have to do is trim the florals and separate all of them. Put them in position where you like. Press it down just like you would apply a vinyl decal, and then remove that little plastic transfer sheet. Now, normally I would have suggested adding a layer of epoxy after you put your vinyl decal on. Of course, if you were going to layer any of these florals on top of that decal, but I did want to test it out and see how this looked, if you would be able to tell that it was overlaid on top of the vinyl, and honestly in the end it turned out really well. It just took a little bit of extra elbow grease to really get that pressed down around the creases of my vinyl. Now, I've worked with these florals so much, and in this specific pattern I could probably apply these with my eyes closed without mistake, but Every now and then I get some that may be too close to the other, and with these transfers you don't want to stick them down until you are certain that is where you want them, because once they are stuck you cannot remove the transfer, and you will have to use something like acetone or Goo Gone to get them removed from the tumbler, and then of course you're out of a floral cluster or whatever your decal may be. So I just trimmed around it so I can position it on the tumbler and make sure it's not going to overlap any of my other florals. Trimmed off a little bit of the backing and then used the hinge method to apply that to the tumbler. These do not have to be sealed, so after you apply your florals, you are safe to go straight into epoxy. I have my DIY Speedy Petey Fast Set epoxy, and I am going to take a little tiny bit of pure mica powder from PDB Creative Studio and mix that into my epoxy. This is a beautiful mica. It adds lots of shimmer, and it really looked awesome in combination with the metallic spray paint that we used. I have a quick release turner from DENOS tumbler turners, so I'm able to actually just hold the turner arm and apply my epoxy aside from the turner itself. Have lots more control over it. It helps prevent waves in my epoxy when just applying them in a pattern on my turner. I have control with both of my hands, and then once I finish applying the epoxy, I'm just going to pop that on my turner and run over lightly with a torch to get any of those micro bubbles. And here is the final result. I'm not going to lie, after I spray painted this, it wasn't exactly the base color that I was going for, but in the end, I absolutely love it. Just another example of trusting the process and getting a really awesome result. As always, all of the products that I used in this tutorial will be listed down below in the description along with some discount codes. Don't forget to join our Brittany Barnes Boutique Facebook group and snag that decal image. Like this video and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell in the corner to be notified anytime a new tutorial drops. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you next time.